Eva could not stop her mother from exacting her revenge plan. Ted and Nicole go on with their anniversary party. And Kat is closer than she thinks to figuring it all out. What's good, y'all? She gets this Erica Vane coming to you right here on Erica Vane TV with another Beyond the Gates video. And this is honestly, I guess, a retro review. At the time when episode 45 from season 1 premiered, I did not post a breakdown in real time, and I just rewatched the episode and am now providing a review. But that is after we have already seen up to episodes like I think 123. So we have so much more context now. I want to make sure I say that at the beginning so that you guys know that I am speaking from that place. And a lot of my notes will be pointing to little things that were said then that we would have never had context for until we watch things play out and where we are now. Currently, they are doing a rerun on the week of September 1st. A rerun week, and it's going to be the anniversary party, and it starts with episode 45. So that is why I've definitely gone back to provide this review. And if you are watching, then hopefully you enjoy it, and we can still talk about it. Now, this episode was really great opener for the week, and the cliffhanger being, do you want to tell wifey who I am or should I? Because Leslie arrives at the party and is making a scene when he locks Eva in the closet. She's able to get out, but too little too late, and all of the things start to get set in motion. And when you watch that part, it's very, very much so brilliant. But when you go back and look at the damn nuances of what was going down from top to bottom of this episode, there was all types of like orange and red flags popping up left and right. And now that we have so much context, now that we've seen the characters or lived with the characters a little bit longer, it's just so clear to me. First and foremost, the top of the episode, we get to see Ted and Nicole doting over one another, talking about maybe we should skip the party, run off the same bars. No, we're gonna go to do the party. They're recalling, their love and how proud of each other they are, how proud of their love that each other are. And what stuck out to me is when Ted was when Nicole was like, when I met you on Maui, and she's like speaking kindly about him, and then he's like, oh really? And it's almost like he started fishing for compliments. That should have been a bigger red flag for me, but I don't think that registered. And it's not to say that people can't fish for compliments, and sometimes people don't need, or people do need external validation, and it's nothing really wrong with that. It's something wrong when the external validation is like mandatory, or if somebody feels entitled to it. And in the way that he said it in this moment, because she was like, that you're a catch. Like, it becomes this thing where now they've shifted the conversation from like honoring the unit that is them and how they persevered and been together for so long, like this is like I think that 20-year anniversary, to now the conversation has shifted to like reaffirming that he is a good man, reaffirming that he is a great catch, reaffirming almost so that he's the prize. And it's like, but you're not the prize. And honestly, the rest of the episode just goes and confirms for me that Ted was never the goddamn prize. And the problem, the reason why they will never reconcile is because he desperately wants to be the prize, but he's not. And that's honestly the problem with a lot of modern day dating. I think that there's way too many men who want to be the bad bitch in a relationship when they are dating or married to bad bitches already. So it can't be two bad bitches in a relationship. You gotta let the woman be the bad bitch, but you want to be the bad bitch, Ted. When we go to the speech at the party, right? And Ted is like, I think Ted goes, does he go first or second? I don't remember. But he starts talking about Vernon and how one of his proudest days was marrying Nicole, specifically because he was able to get access to Vernon's family. Like, Vernon welcomed him into the family by way of marrying his daughter. And that didn't stick out then because we didn't know Ted as much as we know now. We didn't see how much inaction he had in reference to trying to reconcile his marriage. We didn't see him distancing himself from the kids that he has grown up with and prioritizing Eva, staying away from Nicole while claiming that he wants his damn marriage back. But I have been saying for like weeks now that Ted is too entitled, that Ted is a damn narcissist, that I'm not convinced that Ted is actually in love with this woman. I think that Ted likes the prestige and he likes the power and the money that has come with building this relationship and incorporating into the Dupree family. And this was like a Easter egg for that way back when, all the way back in episode 45. He literally says out his mouth, his proudest day is becoming a part of Vernon Dupree's family. And we gotta listen, y'all. We gotta like really pay attention when people are talking. This is why it's very important to comprehend what people are saying to you, listen to what they're saying, and then really comprehend it, because there's so many different ways that you can say a thing, right? And the way that you choose to say a thing matters. The words that you use matter. The proudest day that he had was becoming a part of Vernon Dupree's family, not marrying a woman, not marrying Nicole Richardson, who has made him the best person he could possibly be, but he's not the best person he could possibly be. She probably definitely made him better, but he's definitely not the best person he could possibly be. Oh, I remember. So going back to when Nicole had to affirm that he was a catch, he literally said, this is when he was fishing for compliments. He said, "I was so worried that you were going to realize that you were marrying beneath you." Why would you worry about that if you weren't actually beneath her? Why would you worry about that if you was actually bringing something to the table that she could actually use from you? Why would you worry about that if you had any type of intentions on improving her life in ways in which she might not be able to do on her own? Why would you worry about that if you were not coming with additional insight and empathy and care and intentions? You will worry about that if you're a raging narcissist looking to take as much as you possibly can and give as little as you possibly goddamn can, which ultimately materialized by you cheating on her while she was miscarrying your damn babies. You knew that you weren't from the very beginning, and you liked the way that this all looks. He also made a comment to Andre at the party. He's like, thanks for listening to me and not judging me, and you were right, because Andre basically tells him not to say nothing, like go with the flow, don't admit it, because they have the moments in episodes prior to this where he reveals to Andre that he cheated and he's not perfect and this, that, and the third, and Andre but like puts in his head like, yeah, just take it to the grave. He's looking out over the party and he's like, yeah, you was right, this is what it's all about. What is this that he's talking about, y'all? He's talking about the notoriety. He's talking about the power. He's talking about the prestige. He's talking about the perceived legacy of this particular room, not the quiet moments within their marriage, not the mental and emotional stability that he should have been able to foster for Nicole. This is what matters. This is what you wanted from the very beginning. And it's so crazy because on rewatching the episode, he literally says it. He says all of it. The mask is off. I swear, hopefully some of y'all watch this before you go back and rewatch the episode, because then maybe you'll be like, oh wait, now I see certain things that I never saw before. Because when I went back, I was like, oh damn, everything that I've been criticizing him about up in the hundreds episodes, since like episode 80 through where we're at now, 123, all of it is like in this episode to some degree, which is all of like 40, 50, 60 episodes prior, and it's crazy. He has been this guy. He has been trash. And no amount of like coddling or compliments and like, oh, we made it 20 years is going to change that, because y'all made it on the surface. Y'all made it on the outside visually. Y'all are like still married legally, but you were never the partner that you were supposed to be to Nicole. And you damn sure was never the man that you allowed yourself to be labeled as. The great man, the perfect partner, in the perfect couple. You were never that, Ted. It was never given that. Let me switch beats a little bit, because let's talk about Leslie and Eva. They have a really big episode in this episode, because Eva starts the episode off wanting to change the plan. This is the culmination of Leslie's plan, where she's going to come out during this party and blow up Ted's spot, put egg all on Nicole's face, and Eva does not feel great about it from the very beginning. They go back and forth a lot. And the note that I wrote is that it's okay for Eva's mother to make her choose between Ted and her, but it's not okay for her father. And I wrote that note because after this week of like episodes and this all comes out, and when Ted starts to like reconcile with the idea of Eva and wants to show up for her and wants to be her dad and wants them to have a relationship, one of the things that she's adamant about is that I'm not going to pick between my parents. But yet and still, you brought your ass into the area with some ridiculous ass mission with your mama, start to implement the mission, realize that your mama is not 100% right in her perspective, still goes to the very last minute. Yes, you try to change at the very last minute, but then you barely have any smoke for your mama in the real fallout. And now it's Ted, I'm not going to turn my back on my mama, but you had no problem turning your back on your damn daddy. You had no problem questioning the narrative that Leslie put in front of your face and shoved down your throat. And this is part of the reason why I'm going to consistently have beef with Eva, because while I'm not saying that it's right for her to choose one parent over the other, I think that it would do her character a great service if she alienated her mama the way that she looks at Ted at the very beginning. If the pendulum fully swung the other way and she jumped on Ted's side and was more honest and more cutthroat when it came to her mama, the same way that she came into the show being cutthroat about Ted, it would do her a world of good, and it would keep her out of trouble, and it would put her in a position to, I think, get a better place to settle maybe in the middle later on. But right now, she's hiding helmets and gloves when her mama tried to kill Laura multiple times. Like, she's going to bat and getting money, borrowing money from Ted so that her mama can have it. Like, she's making all these concessions specifically for Leslie, but doesn't want to be regarded as her co-conspirator. Doesn't want to be looked at as evil, just like her damn mama. Meanwhile, she's creating a soft place to land at worst and optimal conditions at best for her mama to keep terrorizing these people. But then she don't want to be looked at as a terror. You don't get it both ways, Bookie. And then you also have no actual empathy and no real humility when you're engaging with Kat, which also makes it feel like, to me, your remorse for all of this feels very performative, because you have no problem still going up against Kat and trying to take her boyfriend and trying to take her position with her daddy and all of these things. But you're so sorrowful. You didn't mean to destroy the family. You didn't mean to cause interruption. You just wanted a family of your own. Yet and still, you can't be accountable to not holding your mama accountable, and you can't be accountable to actually being a conspirator in the takedown mission. I can't respect her for that. And it goes back to that for me of like, seeing her in this moment is good because we get to see like she's starting to have second guesses, but she's not committing to it, which is why her mama is still able to prevail, right? But after it, the fallout, like, she did not give Leslie the amount of smoke that she should have. After this, Leslie doubles down and like, you betrayed me. She throws her out. Like, all of this stuff is going down. And then now in present day, like I said, we've seen up to episode 123 when I'm recording this. You were going to shopping with your mama. You trying to hedge her off at the pass when she's trying to move in across from Vernon and Anita when you need to be yanking access. You are quite literally her lifeline still with Ted and particularly this family. Like, yes, she has the proximity, but you are really her lifeline and you refuse to cut it. Again, I cannot respect Eva for that. Leslie says the architect of his mass destruction is going to be his daughter. Like, this is what your mama said out of her damn mouth. She knew exactly what was going on. I also wrote a note and I was like, I wonder how much alike Ted and Vernon are, because we get a moment in this episode when Kat is over at Vernon and Anita's prior to the party, and they're kind of like ragging on Bill and bigging up Ted. And I'm like, oh, Vernon is laying it on thick when it comes to like praising Ted. It feels like he sees a lot of himself in Ted, which does not help me moving forward in present day, because I have been side-eyeing Vernon since the whole Barbara storyline has popped up, and specifically Barbara and the magical kid. I have been side-eyeing Vernon, and I would not be surprised if Ted and Vernon are more alike than they are directly putting on in our face right now. And to go back to this particular moment and see this, I'm like, they laid the groundwork way back in episode 45. The only other thing that like really stuck out for me from this episode is that Kat is having a conversation when Vernon and Anita ask about Tomas and how things are going. She's a little bit cryptic at first, but then starts to divulge what she thinks of him and what she thinks he thinks of her, which we learn is not actually the damn truth. But Kat goes on and says that she won't settle. But then we just watch her perpetually settle, because why is she still chasing this man and has been chasing this man, has given this man her virginity and hated it. Yeah, that was a setup if I've ever seen it. And then also there was a conversation between Dani and Nicole, and Nicole reminds her that Dani once told her that if she does not prioritize Ted, then she could lose him. And I just thought, and I wrote that note because I think I was thinking at the time, did anybody tell Ted if he don't prioritize Nicole, he's going to lose her? Probably not, because men are not told that when they should be. This man literally was cheating. They don't know this at the time, but he was cheating on his wife while she was miscarrying his babies. But she needs to prioritize him. Again, Dani didn't know any of this at the time, but that just speaks to like how we are indoctrinated as women to show up within romantic spaces, to show up within our dating lives, to show up within like pursuing romantic partners. This episode, we get to see the conversation of Dani and Andre going to tell everybody, and they put it on hold, but they're clearly very much so in sync, messing around, having a good time. Cool. Which kind of starts to lay the groundwork for like, is this a mistake or is it not? But we don't actually know in this actual episode. But that being something that Dani said, and then knowing her trajectory, and like she prioritized Bill to the upteenth degree. She gave up her career for him. She reorganized her life for him. She dedicated her life to him and the family that she wanted to build with him. And then he left her ass for their daughter's best friend. So let's not talk about we should have been prioritizing Ted, because if Nicole would have spent more time not prioritizing Ted, she might have been able to peep that her damn husband was taking her son to go meet his mistress. This ain't her fault though, but I'm just saying that whole part of the conversation, that rhetoric grates on my goddamn nerves. Now, it leads into, for me, in reference to thought process though, into Nicole, like while she's talking and giving a speech about like their marriage and Ted and all of that, she said that she had never felt anything like that before upon meeting them. She thought that she had gotten sick, but it was actually her falling in love. And we've heard the story multiple times at this point, because they recorded a little interview early on in the season. But they met on Maui at a doctor's conference, and it was almost like a whirlwind affair. What I immediately thought when she said this, it was like, oh, I thought I was falling ill, but I was falling in love. I said, I feel bad for the girls who have only had one love. I feel bad for the girls who have only fallen in love once. I, in this real time, have fallen in love twice in my life. And I'm so very grateful for that. And I'm so very grateful for them not working out in the ways that I thought that they were going to work out. Because something about this feels like if Ted was not her very first, then maybe she could see him clearer. If she had more experience with feelings of like deep lust and attraction, seasonal alignment, right? And if she had a clear understanding of her own desires and the woman that she was, then maybe she would have been able to see Ted, and we wouldn't find her now on the night of her 20-year anniversary being bombed on by a lunatic ass mistress and a love child that was created during one of the most traumatic times of her life. Because this man has always been this man, but she could only see his good, which is normal, right? Like, you fall in love with somebody, you tend to put on your rose-colored glasses. But it stuck out to me in her speech, specifically on rewatching it, because she literally is like, I have never felt like this before. And I'm not saying that the person that you're supposed to be with is supposed to feel like something else, but that literally spoke to me and was like, oh damn, she has never fallen in love before. So then how do we know that this is actual love, or if it was just this different feeling, so she went with it because of that? And to me, Nicole, even more so than Dani, while they grew up in the same house, gives even more shelter. She is the eldest Black daughter to an affluent family who became a doctor, who is well-to-do, who is so put together, always classy, always has decorum. So she's been walking this tightrope her entire life of like what she's supposed to do and always doing what she's supposed to do. And part of this could also be, which we don't know, but part of this could also be Ted checks off the boxes of the type of man that she's supposed to marry. All of that is a setup. It's a setup for Black girls to find themselves in circumstances, find themselves in lives that don't actually feel aligned, that don't actually fit, and don't actually serve us, but look good on the outside. And I think that Nicole is the biggest cautionary tale for that. And with that said, this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. It was really great rewatching episode 45 because I was able to pull out these insights now that I've seen so much of the show. Let me know what some of the things that you noticed, what stuck out to you, what you're interested in talking about. And I know a lot of people are mad about the reruns, but again, y'all, I rewatched the episode and I didn't feel bad about it being a rerun. I'm trying to give the show grace. I know I've been very hard on them approaching episode 100, but we're in a very sweet spot in this last week of episodes, which have been absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to Beyond the Gates. I hope they keep doing what they're doing, and I can't wait to continue the conversation with you. It's your good sis you love to talk TV with, and I'll see you in the next one.